Welcome to the Healer's Corner podcast with your hosts, Melissa Wiles and Maria Cerna.
We have another episode of the Healer's Corner, and this time we have Maria Celeste.
Hi, everyone.
You are the magic behind Gems by Celestial Dancer.
Oh, thank you.
And of all the years of doing the stones and the rocks, I think I have learned so much more from you in just our goofing off and talking and, than just sitting and reading and gathering. Just because the knowledge just comes out of your mouth as bits and pieces as part of conversation. So it's we learn from you even when we're not meaning to sitting in a class. So I thank you for all the knowledge that you have shared us.
An honor and a privilege. Knowledge is meant to be shared, so I'm honored to share it.
Well, especially at something so cool as gemstones and rocks and how they actually help and work with us and heal. And I love the fact that you have the science behind some of this too.
Yeah. There's a lot of science behind it. It's all science, really.
It is. And you refreshed or maybe even just taught me the last time we talked. I think it was just Saturday. The reason why rose quartz is so good for you. And you were saying the magnesium in it and refresh my memory what you said Saturday.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. So a lot of people over the years, the 26 years that I've done this, to give you a little bit of background, my parents thought I was going to be a geologist as a kid because I would be like, how does this get formed? And how does this get formed? And I would come in and I'd go, now explain this rock to me and tell me what this rock is and what's this leaf and how did this form? And my parents were like, oh my God, here's a book, read it. Literally, they would give me books, and somewhere I still have the books they gave me. So I was always fascinated by geology. I am now a wannabe geologist, and I am honored that God put me in the path of being able to share my love of rocks and understanding, because I come from a science background, I come from a medical background, and just to give a little background, people would be like, well, how can this be? How can God do this? And I'm like, okay, let's go to the Bible. There's 3 kingdoms in the Bible. There's the plant kingdom that feeds us. There's the animal kingdom that we're from. And then there's the mineral kingdom. Hello. They all work together. They're all God's work. They're all energetically alive. And that's how they work with us. So the rose quartz around the sheath of our heart is magnesium. And I always forget whether it's magnesium or manganese. So if I'm wrong about that, forgive me, because I'm just a wannabe geologist and a wannabe scientist. However, that same mineral, and I believe it's magnesium, is also in rose quartz. And if you understand the law of vibration and the law of frequency, the frequency in that magnesium that is in rose quartz is going to resonate with what's around the sheath of our heart, which is why they call it the love stone. But it's because of the law of frequency and the law of vibration, which you will raise to the frequency that's the strongest and the loudest. Not necessarily the highest, but the strongest and the loudest. So if you want your frequency to be what's dictating when you walk into a room, just turn it up. And it literally is just go and turn up that frequency. It's like when I walk into big box stores, I just close down all my chakras because of the frequency and the vibration. But it is based on the law of frequency and law of vibration. So that's going to work with us. And that's how magnesium, that's how the rose quartz actually works as the love stone, because it works with our heart. A lot of people are drawn to rose quartz very naturally. It's one of the first stones people will, which is because we're all love. It's just we want to be love and we are love. And the 4th commandment is love thy neighbor as thyself. And we forget to love ourselves. So God gave us rose quartz to help remind us that. And rose quartz is all over my house. So rose quartz is beautiful. The other stone that works really well, if you think about how we process mentally, a lot of times we're in our head and we think with our head, we act with our head. We don't let our heart dictate. But the heart is the center of all of our chakras. So to use
Mhm.
rose quartz and to allow ourselves to be in our hearts is amazing. And kyanite, blue kyanite, if you use kyanite with rose quartz, kyanite allows the brain to connect with the heart. So the heart frequency will tell the brain, this is what you need to do. Instead of the brain going, this is what you need to do, heart. Kyanite works with the rose quartz to say, rose quartz, this is what you need to do. So your heart is dictating where you work. And your thoughts will then be controlled by your heart rather
Mhm.
than your mind controlling your heart. And if more of us allowed ourselves to feel and allow our feelings to dictate, things would be a whole lot easier in the world. But, and that's why God gave us crystals to help us. They really are our friends, and there's little spirits in them.
So can the energy, like, absorb in just by, like, the vibration and being around you?
Yes, let me give you an example of how that works. Because your body will absorb that frequency. I there was a time when I did lots of crystal healing and actually would lay crystals on the body. And once I did that, I would take the crystals off at the end of the session and I would lay them out. And then I would do a debriefing with the client about this is the picture of how these crystals were laid on your body so that you can understand and you can take a picture because then you can also use that frequency. But this one particular person literally had 13 calcites on her, right around her whole female, around the ovaries and the solar plexus and sacral chakra, through that whole area. And I said to her, I said, so tell me what's going on because your body wanted a lot of calcium. She
Mhm.
said, I was literally just diagnosed with osteopenia. And the calcium sat on her body for a good 20, 22 minutes and would not let me take it off. And that is because the body is absorbing the calcium energetically through her clothing because the body knows, because the law of frequency, the law of resonance, that body, that calcium is sitting on the body and the body's going, let's absorb that. So, yes, the stones will be absorbed into your body. So, you don't even have to know how the stones work. If you're drawn to it, your body at some level knows that piece
Mhm.
of kyanite's for me, that piece of rose quartz for me, that piece of whatever it is, trust. And the more you trust when you go, I want this stone, I don't know what it's for, your body knows what it's for.
Mhm.
And what I like to do is if that happens, sit with the stone and talk to the stone. I know it all sounds crazy, but truly talk to the stone. Talk to the stone and say, why am I drawn
Mhm.
to you? What do I need to know? And what are you going to do for me? And then listen and carry that stone around. It's like getting to know a new friend. It's like, come on, let's go to lunch. Let's talk. Let me know about you. The stone is the same way. Each stone has a spirit in it, just like we have a spirit. There's a
Mhm.
soul. There's a soul in that living tomato that
Mhm.
feeds us. There's a soul in that living labradorite, that living kyanite, that living rose quartz, that living malachite. There's souls in there that feed us. So listen and then look it up in a book because those books are finite. The crystal
Mhm. Mhm.
is infinite. And that crystal knows energetically what it's going to do for you. Now, if you want to go down a really big rabbit hole, and 70 years later, because the stone knows why it wants to, they pick us. We don't pick them.
Mhm.
We don't pick them. You think you pick them. You don't pick them. They're picking us because they know they aren't filtering all the crazy stuff that goes on in our head that we filter. It's like, oh, it's pretty, it's not bad, 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 whatever. Um, so then you can go and read it. When I would always get a new stone, if you've ever bought stones from us, I always had labels to go with our stones.
Mhm.
When I would make stones for whether it was a known stone or a new stone, I always sat with that stone for maybe 2 days, 1 day, sometimes just a couple of minutes, and it would download. And I would write what that stone wanted me to write, and then I'm like, "Okay." And then because I'm human, I'm going, "Is that real? And then I would look it up in a book or books, and it would be what it said it would be, and maybe a little bit more. So that little bit more, I want you to know that those are finite. But if you want to go down a rabbit hole, look up the chemical compounds that are in the stones and then understand what those chemicals do in your body. And you'll understand why your body is attracted to that stone. And that is the magic of why I love, why the crystals and God's energetic, the crystals and the minerals and the plants and us and working all together. Because it's, if you understand that azurite is copper and azurite is an amazing stone to help you with knee problems, it's the copper. Copper is a great stone for people who have arthritis or joint problems. And it's the copper. Azurite has a lot of copper in it. It's really very cool.
Like I knew copper, was very much attached to like turquoise.
Mhm.
I either had forgotten or didn't really see learning. Here we are. So I'm like, Maria just gives out knowledge about stones and casual conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
It's they're my babies. They're my babies. And I'll digress and tell you a cute story. So, if you've ever saw our tables, at one time we used to have 13 tables. Thank you, God, for all the help you gave us. Because we used to do 23 shows a year, and Eric and I also worked at Morgan Stanley full time. How I did, I have no idea. I really, truly, I mean, truly by the grace of God, I'm like, yeah, okay. I can't even think about what we used to do. We would get home at midnight, unload the van, bring the van back because I never bought a van. 26 years later, I never bought a van, brought it back to Enterprise, went to bed, woke up at 6 o'clock, and went to Morgan Stanley to manage the money that we managed. Tuesday mornings was a really tough day, especially after Victory of Light. That was a really tough day. For Monday wasn't so bad, but that Tuesday was like, oh my God. So anyway, if you knew what our tables look like, and I said to somebody one time, I said to we had like 5 people working for us, and I said, does anybody know where the Helidor went? And they're like, how the heck? That's not exactly what they said. How the heck do you know that there's even a Helidor on this table? I'm like, dudes, these are my babies. I know every single baby that's on this table, and I know where I put it, and that Helidor is not there. Does anybody know where the Helidor is? Nobody knew where the Helidor was. And then there was another stone that was missing. It was a ruby. And then there was another stone. There was like 6 different stones over the course of about 2 shows. I'm like, where did they go? Okay, they needed them more than I did. A couple of weeks later, my husband, at the time he wasn't my husband, I'm in his car. And he's like, oh, go in my glove compartment. It's in my glove compartment. And I'm like, what's in this bag? And his face just drops. I'm going, can I look in this bag? Oh, sure. Well, there's the Helidor, and there's the ruby, and there's the rose quartz. And I'm like, oh, you took them off the table. He goes, well, I just borrowed them for a little bit. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I knew I had them. He had this whole bag of stones he'd taken off the table. Like,
why did he just say, I need that right now? And
well, he's gotten to the point where, I mean, that was very early on, and he wasn't sure why he was even attracted to these things.
Okay.
And every show we went to, every buying trip we went on, I said, Eric, tell me what stone you want. I will buy you a stone. And he always picked one that had to do with diabetes. Always picked one. And he didn't know anything about stones. He would pick calcite. He would pick malachite, and then more calcite and more calcite and more calcite. But everything had to do with working with diabetes. I went, see, this stuff works. You don't have to know it. They know what they're doing. They're smarter than we are because they don't have this human brain that filters everything. So trust the stone. If you go into Goddess Elite and you don't know why that beautiful big rose quartz or that kyanite or that beautiful skull is calling you, you don't have to know. It knows what you need. So honor that and then sit with it and welcome it as a new friend because it wants to work with you. It's God saying, here's a prompt. I'm going to help you with whatever it is, whether it's cancer or and I'm not telling you to use stones instead of medicine. I'm just saying you can use them in addition to, I would never tell you not to use. I came from a medical background. I would never tell you not to use medical. Never. Um, but they're just our best friends, and they don't talk back. Well, they do talk back. They do talk back.
I'm like, ma'am, do you want to correct that? Because yes, they do.
Yes, they do talk back, especially if it's like they're like little kids in the back of a bus. They're like, I don't want to sit next to that. They put them on the table, and if anybody watched me, they would think I was actually crazy. I'm like, seriously, you don't want to sit next to him? Okay, where do you want to go? And then I would. No wonder it took us 16 hours to set up because they're crazy. They're like, I don't want to be over there. I'm like, oh my God, you sound like us in the back of my mother's station wagon.
You know, one of the first times that you and I were really working together, and you let me bring back some of the stones to the store, to the OG Goddess Elite when we were this big. I don't remember what they were, but I remember putting them in the white cabinet by the door as you came in. And we had like 3 or 4 different types of stones. And I think it was like 6 of each one. And I remember trying to lay them out in that locked cabinet. In my hand for like this one stone kept like somebody was pushing it. And I'm like, really? You don't want to be right here? Like, I'll be damned. Because like that had never really happened before. And so, I always think back to that when customers are like, well, can these be together? And I'm like, do you want a long story or do you want a short quick answer? And I'm like, I'll tell you, due to the Mohs scale, you probably shouldn't put these two, these ones together in your pocket if you want them to stay pretty.
Perfect.
All come out of the earth. They really don't care. And I go, except for they have their own little personalities, and that particular jasper may not like that particular obsidian. They had a fight after hours. I don't know. So like, that's really the only reason why, that maybe those ones can't be together in your bag or bowl or, And I'm like, and if you force it, one of them will go missing and show up somewhere else,
That's what Moldavite will jump out of your pockets. I have literally seen Moldavite jump. I'm like, that's really crazy. It literally will jump. I had a piece that literally jumped off my dining room table into my dear friend Brenda's pocket. And Brenda and I just was like, I get Brenda that wants to go home with you. It literally went right into her pocket. It's crazy. But they will tell you, if you listen to them, where they want to be and where they won't want to be, which brings up a question a lot of people, and your audience may want to know this because we got this question all the time. Does size matter? And I would say maybe. The question is, what do you want to use it for?
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to use it? Would you put a quarterback in a linebacker's position? Probably not. Mm-hmm. So you need to know if you're going to buy a little tiny rose quartz and you want to grid your whole property, it's probably not going to work. Mm-hmm. But if you want to use a little bit of rose quartz to grid by the door frames, that could work. But so you've got to think about what you're going to do with it. And are you going to carry it around all day? Or are you going to put it in your pocket? What are you physically going to do with it? So size does matter because you're not necessarily going to put a quarterback in a linebacker's position, depending on how you're going to use that stone.
Right. Like when most people are coming into the store, they're usually looking for something in the pocket, and I'm like, now it's going to be, how comfortable is it?
Yes.
In the pocket. Or, some ladies, we're going to harken back to our favorite grandma who is no longer with, she called her bra her gravel pit. So I'm like, are you putting that pokey, stone in there? Like that may not be very comfortable in your gravel pit. I'm like, maybe get the tumble,
I love it. Yeah, the other thing too is, if you're a tactile person, I think it's important to feel the stone and how does that feel with you, especially if it's going to be a pocket stone or if it's going to be a comfort stone. How does that technically feel to you? I'm a very tactile person, very tactile. My husband once said to me, "Do you have to touch everything?" Yes, I do. I have to make stones. Exactly. I need to know energetically if I'm connected with that, whether it's a piece of clothing or whether it's a stone. So, touch it and talk to it and feel it. Some people will use pendulums. It drives me crazy when people don't know how to use pendulums, but yeah. It's like, are you riding the pendulum or is the pendulum riding you? But I don't ever say anything because everybody does it differently. And I'm like, "Ooh," but, you know, just trust and feel.
Mhm. I'm You and I have not gotten to walk around together at the Tucson Gun Show.
Oh my
Um,
god, you have to do that.
I know, but I am that one standing there at the tables, like, picking up, and I tend to do this with them, and it's almost like I look for that little thumb spot or how it feels, or I'm, like, petting it as I'm deciding and looking at something else, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And sometimes, earlier in the show, I don't know if you've noticed that usually the older crowd who are the old, lapidary people that want to come in and get everything and get out before the crowd show in. So like they really don't care about the metaphysical side of the stones. They just
Not
want
at
their
all.
and they might get frustrated with me because I'm standing there like rubbing all of them and touching all of them and looking at them and like kind of like, do you want to go home with me? Is your home in Cleveland? Yeah, okay. Are you sure? Because you're really okay, fine. And you just hear them like, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to be here all day. If you like, now I'm going to be petty and I will stand here all day and converse with these rocks if you don't stop. So,
But my guess is, because I know this has happened to us, people you walk in and they go, "Oh, it's Melissa. She's gonna do her thing."
yeah,
Because as people have gotten to know you, they're like, they know how you work when you're in their booth or stall or room or wherever they're at. And they like, "Oh, it's Maria and Eric. Just leave them alone." Or it's Melissa. She knows what she's doing. Just let her do her thing. For the most part, because you've been there, going there long enough that people are like, it's Melissa. She knows what she's doing. Let's let her do it. We don't need to sell it. They're going to sell them themselves.
yeah. I love. Oh my god, 8, 9 years that I've been going, and you get your regulars, and so
Yeah.
as I'm walking up, hey,
Yeah.
like I love the guys from South Africa of craft stones. They're always a hoot.
Oh, they're wonderful.
You know, just the different ones, and they leave me be. But it's like those other customers at the beginning of the show that want to get their stuff and get out, and I'm holding them up because I'm touching all of them, and I'm looking
Yeah.
at all of them. But it's funny because in doing so and in communicating with the stones, it's like my to buy list never stays just that list. Like I will always end up with more of something else that I'm like, I really don't need any more of this, but I can't put it down. It's not. And almost always like it's some of the first things that will sell off the table,
Yes,
putting them out. And
absolutely.
it knew better than I did that its new home needed to come through me and be on this table. So,
Yeah.
I've learned it took a couple of years, but I quit arguing with it.
Yeah. You
You
learn not
know?
to argue with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was it's so fun. But we do need to do that, especially now that I'm not buying for the business.
Mhm.
So I will, because anybody who ever has gone to on a buying trip, wherever it might be, given the fact we're two very busy people. Melissa runs a business and was taking care of a child. I run a business and take care of another business. It's easier than taking care of a child because you can walk away from the business. You can't walk away from the child. But anyway, you're there and you've got 3 days to do what you're doing. You're up at 7 o'clock in the morning. You're at 11 o'clock at night. You're wrapping it up because it's got to be shipped home because you're taking a plane and you can't get it all on the plane with you. And you've got
Right.
3 days to do all of your shopping for a year. So it's like you're tunnel vision and you're doing what you're doing. But now that I don't have any of that to do, I can travel with you and I can, listen, you need some of this. Really must be a very good influence because I'm like, this is really cool. I think you should buy this. So this is really cool. But you do, and then it's just you like this one time I'm standing and it was at Top Gems. I'm standing at Top Gems in line, and if you've ever shopped at Top Gem, there's always a line at Top Gem. And I'm standing at Top Gem, and there's Aura Corksels, and I don't buy Aura 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 Aqua,
So,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Very
Aqua,
treated.
Angel. They got so many now.
Never did anything heat treated. I didn't. Don't manipulate my stones. Don't be fucking putting them in a sorry.
No, it's okay.
Don't be putting them in a microwave on me. Don't be putting them in a microwave. Do not energetically change their vibration. And this Aqua Aura was yelling at me, and I'm like, I don't buy you. I mean, I don't buy you. We were actually having this argument in my head first. And the line was long enough that I was probably 20 minutes in line. And finally, I'm like, fine. And I picked it up. And the next show, this was very early on. This was probably in 2005. And it was a women's expo we were doing at the show. Literally across the fairground building, this woman comes running at me. She goes, "Oh my God, that's the crystal I had a dream of." Fine, it's yours because I don't buy these. It was amazing. So I understand what you're saying, because I was shocked because it was just I bought the one. I'm like, I'm not buying all of you. It's just this one screaming at me that wants to come home. And literally the first day I put it out, it sold within like the first 2 hours. And this woman, I don't know how she saw this little 2-inch stone on my table with all these other stones. She literally came running across the hallway. I need that stone. Okay, I'll never argue with you again.
Right? Yes.
Yeah,
They're they're fun little beings. They really, really are. Um,
they're magical.
they are. And it's funny. So I have customers ask me like, well, which one should I carry? And I'm like, well, if you have a collection, you can ask them day to day,
Mhm.
which want to be with you for that day. And you may find that for days or weeks, you're carrying the same ones over and over again. And who cares? That's what you need. And I go, unless you're starting to feel bad that the other ones are home and lonely, but they're not lonely because they've got one another,
Yeah,
but like there's no set rule on how to work with them.
right.
I was going to say, well, maybe, throwing them at people, but I'm like, any stone's a good stone for protection if you throw hard enough and you got good aim. I mean,
It would work.
it would. It would. Aim for the eyes.
Little did I know I was carrying that around to throw it.
Right. My black tourmaline says back up. It says no. Um,
Seriously.
so is rose quartz the only one, or is it the best one when it comes to self-love and love and all of the mushy lovey stuff?
To me, and you're talking to somebody who there's a piece of rose quartz in every room in my house. There's pieces of rose quartz all around my house. Um, and the squirrels love to move them. I'm like, oh my God, move it back. My husband likes to take it out of the sink, and I'm like, keep that in the sink, dude. I love rose quartz. So rose quartz is always my go-to. When I was in going through my own personal growth of self-love, um, rose quartz is a very I can't speak enough about rose quartz because I really do think it is the stone of love. Now, the other stone that you can use for the heart is unakite. Unakite is a wonderful because a lot of people with the chakras, they like green for the heart. They also like pink for the heart. And unakite, which is not an easy stone to find, it comes from South Africa, but it's not an easy jasper. But it is green and pink. And that's a stone that if somebody wants something a little more grounding, rose quartz can get you a little spacey and a little more up in your head, because it will work with the brain to get your brain to connect with the heart so that your heart is controlling you. But the unakite and with the green and the pink will work with the heart as well, both colors. And it's a little, because it's a jasper, it's a little denser. And so it will ground you a little bit. So you could use that as well if you felt you wanted to be more grounded in the love rather than a little more spiritual in the love, if that makes sense to your audience.
Now, what do you think about emerald? Because I find at times, depending on the client, emerald will pop for me for them when it's coming to some heart work. Do you use emerald at much at all for that?
I yes, and let me preface this. I never got into the really high end crystals the emerald, the now I used to sell emeralds. Um, but I sold a different class of emerald. I would not sell the kind of emeralds or the rubies or the amethysts that you find in a jewelry store because there's too many fake ones and each stone has my name on it. And I'm not AG, I'm not GIA certified and all of that. So the real high emeralds I never dealt with. But
Mhm.
emerald to me, if somebody wants to go on a spiritual path down their heart, to understand, like, if you want, like, the emerald tablets of Thor or Thro in the Greek and the Roman and the Egyptian goddesses, emerald is a wonderful stone to work with your heart to take you down the, like, Rhodochrosian's theory of esoteric spiritualism.
Mm.
If you've got somebody that wants to journey that way. Uh, um, it's not my go-to stone for the
Mhm.
heart, but it is definitely a green stone that can work for the heart.
Right. Yeah, the emerald we have is that lower end, like it's not been heat treated, it's still got a lot of that black in it and
Those are
everything.
wonderful. That's the
Yeah.
emerald that I use too. Yes, and that's very nice. I also emerald with citrine is a very good stone for good luck.
Mhm.
It's also a very good stone if you wanna manifest money.
Mhm. Mhm.
Citrine, for those of you out there in the listening audience who own a business, you should have a citrine and or an emerald in your cash box. It attracts money.
We used to
Emerald is also a very good stone to use for, feng shui at now there's I can't remember if it's the right I'm trying to think. It's on the left side when you walk in on the left side of the front door to bring good luck into your house. People who that feng shui use a lot of emeralds at the front door.
That's
It's
interesting.
the frog, it's all of that green, it's all of that nurturing, it's green of the mother nature, it's the green of abundance. So it represents all of that, and emerald is very good for that, yes.
Hmm. Yeah, because I find that depending on the client, like I kind of buck the system when it comes to your more popular, type stones that people are using. And I've gotten to the point where amethyst and Archangel Michael, I'm like, those are the two most overused, like I am so tired of hearing about the two because everybody wants to say amethyst does everything. And I'm like, but have you really gotten into what it's supposed to be doing
Yeah.
versus, everything for it? And I'm like, let's talk about a different stone now because that poor little amethyst can't do everything.
Yeah, the amethyst is to me, I love amethyst. I don't know that a lot of people know this, but amethyst is a wonderful stone for people to use that have addictions. It
Mhm.
really helps you see the cause of the addiction so you can break the addiction. And as you break the addiction, you tap into your soul because if you understand the color of purple and the violet flame of Saint Germain, it will help raise you spiritually. And getting to a raised spiritual environment means you've let go of your addictions. So it's a very powerful stone to backdoor working with those people that have addictions. I do a lot of when I do my metaphysical work, my mediumship work, and my psychic work, I will use with amethyst because amethyst will help me connect to the spiritual realm better than other stones. So I will, and one of my teachers from Arthur Finley College, Gordon Higginson, always was like, use amethyst. And so he's in my head, use amethyst, because it is a stone that will connect you with your spirituality.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a good little stone. I did have somebody tell me well, they weren't telling me, they were telling like a group of people. And I'm like, oh, I should ask Maria this. They're like, little kids love amethyst, but when they're little, like they probably shouldn't be running around with it because they're like, it hypes them up. And I'm like, I have never thought to pay attention. Like, I don't really know anybody with little kids anymore on a regular basis to be like, let's do an experiment. We're not going to tell your mom that you got this amethyst in your pocket at 7 o'clock at night and bedtime's at 8:30 and whether or not you're going to go to sleep. you know, but is that something that you've heard?
No, I've not heard that. What I'm hearing is it's probably the sugar, not the amethyst. Because amethyst, if you think of lavender and the color of lavender, and what does lavender do? Lavender helps calm the soul. The amethyst is gonna help calm the soul. It doesn't mean it won't hype you up, um, but I think, to me, I'd have to do an experiment to see if that's the case, because for me, amethyst, very much like lavender, is very calming for me. It's not
Mhm.
a hyperstone.
Yeah. As I said, I don't know anybody with kids. It was like spirit universe was like, you have a cousin with like second grade and younger. And I'm like, oh, I have to go visit. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I got some rocks for your kids.
Can I stay up all night and monitor them? Um,
What time
that
is bedtime? I'll be there an hour before.
Yeah, but there are you can actually, and there's lots. I mean, if you have ever sat in a grid, you can actually test the electromagnetic waves. And
Mhm.
so that we would be able to scientifically test the electromagnetic waves from the amethyst through the child. But um, I don't know how to do that, but I know that they do that. They're the electromagnetic machines. But I cannot honestly say I've never heard that.
Okay.
Amethyst hypes up kids. My guess is, and this is just an intuitive thing, that
Mhm.
it would be interesting to separate the amethyst from the sugar. Because I'm wondering if that mother had amethyst and there was also sugar. Because kids shouldn't have sugar before they go to bed.
No, no. Um, our friends in the audience, if you have any questions for Maria about crystals, crystal energy, how it works, maybe what are the properties of your favorite stone, feel free to ask. Maria, Gems by Celestial Dancer. Like, I wish people could see the setup that you used to do. I will say it was almost a little sad the last time I saw it. I'm like, oh, it's not as big as it used to be.
No,
Uh,
no, it's not. Yeah, because 50% of the business has been sold. And for your audience, I just, after 71 years of being responsible, I decided not to be responsible anymore. For many, many reasons. I have been a a triple type A personality all my life. And as I go through my own realization of I don't want to be responsible anymore, and I'm to the point where I um there's a lot that goes into the business. As a matter of fact, both my neighbor and my husband said, "You spend a lot of time outside lately." And I'm like, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. I don't Who do you think was running the business for 26 years and taking care of the house's finances and taking care of all of my clients' finances? I didn't have time for the garden.
mhm.
And they've noticed the last year because I'm not cutting the labels, I'm not printing the labels, I'm not taking the inventory, I'm not doing the inventory, I'm not doing the books, I'm not worried about, I mean, we did 23 shows a year. You have to book the van, you have to book the venue, you have to pay the vendor, the producer. You've got to make sure you've got the right tables at the right setup, and not all the setups are the same. And somebody's got to be packaging and restoring and revamping the inventory and putting it in the van and taking it out of the warehouse. And yeah, and people go, "How do you stay so thin?" I'm like, "Do you see what I do in the weekends?
Mhm.
We would move 4,000 pounds a weekend." And I don't have to do that anymore, and I love what I did. I'm honored to have done to bring the mineral kingdom to the earth kingdom, and we did it extremely well, and my table was always gorgeous. I loved my table. I loved my table, but it took us 16 man-hours to set it up. But we did it all by crystals and by color and by chakras, because people would say, "Where's the kyanite?" I'm going, "Oh, it's over there with the blues," or, "Do you want the black kyanite? Because it's over there with the black." It was just, to me, it was like it helped me know where I put my stones. So there was a
Right.
method to it, but it also looked really pretty on the table.
Mhm.
And I was just, I mean, and if somebody said, you don't just sell stones. We didn't just sell stones. It wasn't just selling stones. And I'm honored that God allowed us to do it for the number of years that he did. And he's like, okay, you're done now. And now I get to figure out what my garden's going to look like.
Yeah, now you get to play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You did all of your work. School's over, even though
Yeah.
part of your schooling was the teaching, of those of us
And
coming up.
I'll still teach. I would, like you've asked me, I will
Mhm,
still do this kind of thing
mhm.
because it's just everything that's up here doesn't serve me if I'm not using it to serve other people. People who hoard wisdom, I have a real issue with that.
Yeah.
Why are you learning all that if you're not going to share it? I think
Mhm,
wisdom and knowledge are meant to be shared.
mhm,
So I'm
mhm.
honored to, and hopefully somebody out there has learned something from this. I hope.
I mean, I have learned so much over the years, in just you and I talking on the phone, catching up to when you have talked in the store to, just all the time.
Yeah. I'll have to come teach again.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, and I'm like, "Ooh, it's an excuse that we get to hang out after."
I know. And well, the other thing that just floated through my mind is the 28-day meditation with the stones. Remember when I did that with you? Yeah. I love that 28-day meditation
Mhm.
process. It started at the full moon and you go through that and you use the stones and you create it and to bring it from the ethers into reality. Yeah. That's a fun one. That's a fun one to teach. I'd have
Now
to use the stones. I don't have any stones anymore. I have to use your stones.
oh, I've got a few. I've
Okay.
got a few. And, like, again, today moving stuff around, and I'm like, "Where did this bag of smoky quartz palm stones come from? I thought we were out, but look, here's 20 more.
Isn't
Yay."
that cool?
So I'm
So
like,
this
"Well."
is what I'm getting. You needed them for you, and now you're finished with whatever that you are done so that now you can release them.
I wouldn't doubt it. So many, that's why I just chuckle when customers are like, "Stones go missing." I'm like, "Yeah, they go on, field trips and they don't get a signed permission slip." Like, that is my take all the time, and I'm like, "They almost always will come back."
Yeah.
I'm like, "They're either off taking a vacation because maybe they've been doing a lot of work, or, they've been doing some work for you behind the scenes, and then they come back." And I'm like, and if they don't, like, you are truly done, at least with that particular. So don't stress over it. But sometimes humans get emotionally attached to even to like their favorite little stone, and when it goes missing, like your favorite blanket or teddy bear just got left behind somewhere, and like, what do you your emotional support rock is now gone. Um, and
I get that. Yeah, and it's tough, but you also have to realize, okay, there's a bigger power for us to be able to tap into,
Mhm.
which brings me to the point, the listening audience, to understand if you are somewhere and all of a sudden you need protection and you don't have black tourmaline with you, you are standing on the biggest stone there is. And all you have to do is ask Mother Geyer, I need the energy of black tourmaline right now. And just feel that energy coming up through your feet. Mother Geyer is here to support us. All of these come from the earth, and
Mhm.
the earth is our biggest supporter. So every day, make sure you go out and earth and really try. I try, and I usually do it every time I'll go get the mail. And I will literally take my shoes off and walk on the grass so that I consciously am stepping on and allowing my body to absorb all of the beautiful energy of Mother Earth. But know that you're standing on, and if you need rose quartz, if you need coral, and red coral is a great stone to use for those hyperactive kids, by the way. Red coral is a good stone for calming children down. Um, so just somebody out there might need to know that. And if you don't have any, just ask Mother Earth to help you with it because
Mhm.
she'll send you the energy. She loves us.
Mhm. She does. She's like that mom, even when she's mad at us, she still loves us, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Even when we're getting a hurricane in our face, because, it is. She still loves us.
Yeah. She's not too
Um,
happy about the fact that we're using all the farmland for apartments, though.
yeah. Um, how many years? 3 years ago now, and I was gonna ask that. Were you there 3 years ago in Tucson?
Yes.
Did you feel the energy be a little off, a little different down
3
there?
years ago was when I started to know that we were going to unwind the business. So there was, to answer your question, yes, because there's a particular country that, yeah, it shifted about 3 years ago in terms of the energy of the quality of the stones and everything.
Well, I love being down there, right? One of my goals is to be down there in the winter time, away from the humidity and the cold up here in Ohio. And, after the long days of the show and schlepping rocks and pictures and everything else, like a lot of times I would sit outside because I'm like, it is January, February, it's 70 degrees. I've got a beautiful mountain, even though the moon's behind. Like, I can't do this in Ohio. And I never ever felt any sort of way, like other than comfortable and like homey. But 3 years ago, it was very much the
3 years
sun
ago
goes
would have been,
down, you go
oh,
inside. If you heard something outside, no, you didn't. And it was like doors, windows, locked, shades, and I'm like, I have never felt like this down here
oh,
before.
interesting.
And it was just weird. So when my friend Sandy came down, because I was down there a week, unsupervised, and then she came down. Yeah. She comes walking in, she's like, "Oh my God, you've already got so much." And I'm like, "Oh, wait till you see what's in the boxes."
It's addictive. It's very addictive. You
It's
don't have enough money or enough time to buy everything that you want in Tucson. Just
no,
telling you.
no, yeah. You never stick to your budget, you never stick to your list. Um, but you know, I always pack that pallet up a day or two before we fly out, just to have a day of rest. And so we ended up doing like we're sorry for the humans, like kind of ceremony and gifting for the land and everything. And I'm like, hopefully this will ripple and help. And like, it is angry. It was so angry. And the next year it got better. And then this past year, like it felt almost back to the way, it was. But like 3 years ago, it was very much, I'm like, "Ooh."
3 years ago, I'm trying to think. So 3 years ago would have been 21. It would have been in summer of 21, right?
Um, 20, let's see, this is what, 25, 24,
Oh,
uh,
22.
22, 23. Because I'm like, Keith went, Sandy went. So so maybe, yeah, 2 years ago then. Yeah.
Because when I'm thinking there was 1 year when we landed, and it's about this same time frame as we're driving down Route 10 on the side road, the frontage road. The energy, we actually called the mayor of the town and said, "What is wrong with your town?" It's there the I'm getting goosebumps as I'm telling you this. And of course, the response was blah, 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 blah. But Eric and I, we were so distraught. I wonder if it was the same year. We actually, 2 days after we were there, driving, and I said, "We've got to call the mayor and say, what has happened to your town? What has happened to your town?" We were shocked.
Mhm.
And I wonder if that was the same time frame, because we literally called the mayor and said, "What are you doing? Something's not right." If you
Yeah,
think it was about the same time frame.
maybe, maybe. Um, because that's the only t like, it was really, really. I'm like, if this wasn't desert mountains, you would almost treat the dark time as if you were in the Appalachian dark mountains. Like, if you heard something outside, no, you didn't. When that sun goes down, you get inside, doors locked, windows locked. And it wasn't like a fear necessarily of like people. It was more of that land was now like those beings were now out and about and they were not happy. And I'm like, I'm just gonna sit in here and put stickers on my rocks and I'm gonna ignore whatever is out there that is not for me. And I'm just gonna put pictures like, look at this, aquamarine in quartz. Yay, picture. Like, but
That's
so we did like, well, we're sorry. Have some wine. Yeah, love, love. Well, wine over here too. Thanks. Saying it's like we bought this wine, we're not even drinking it. We're pouring it on the ground. I'm like, your face, they like it. Like,
yeah, it's
we got it.
yeah, you've got a lot going on, really, when you think of where that is and where it's situated in the whole country and all of the stuff that goes on down there. And it's beautiful temperature pretty much year round, other than it's hotter than hell in the summertime.
Mhm.
But it can be abused. That land can't. You can see the abuse on that land,
Yeah.
and the forefathers aren't happy about it.
No. So I'm like, well, I guess if and when I get to be down there part of the year on a regular basis, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to be like the little local groundskeeper for that land, constantly like, thank you for letting me be here, and all the other humans that trample in here, once a year for the gem show, like I was one of those, and
Yeah.
like, thank you for sharing this with us, for letting everybody from around the world come in.
Around the world, it's really. I mean, it's just. Yeah, for really about 6, 7 weeks, when you think about courtside and all the stuff, I mean, people are sending people don't realize this stuff's coming from way away. They're already on the boats. That material is already on its way to America.
Mhm.
And some of that stuff has been horribly ripped out of the earth. So you've got angry earth coming to a place that's like, why am I here? I've been ripped from the earth, and now somebody's going to rip me off the table and not appreciate me, and blah, 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 because there's a lot of people that don't understand the sacredness of this
Mhm.
work. They're
Mhm.
simply in it to make a dollar. And the stones don't like that because the stones are a purpose. I mean, they don't mind sharing, and I'm very grateful that they share. And I'm sure you are too, Melissa and Maria,
Mhm.
in terms of the abundance that they give us, but it gives us the abundance because we're giving it back. And if you treat them that way, they're going to treat you. And when you've got countries that are literally ripping the stones out of the earth without any love or any care, and they're all winding up in Tucson, you've got an angry bunch of kids coming to Tucson
Mhm.
going, you ripped me out of my parents'
Mhm.
womb. And now you want to package me up and send me to somebody that doesn't even understand what I do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was really harsh that year. It's gotten better the last, couple. Um,
I'm
you know,
sorry that it's hard for you to do that because there is a
yeah.
lot of goofy energy there.
Well, I mean, it's got humans, so they're always going to be goofy and leave their imprint.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's the humans.
Yeah.
That's why we all need Muggle Stone.
Ooh, tell us about Mugglestone.
Will you? Oh, so Muggle Stone is actually, and I love Muggle Stone. If you want, okay, geologically, it's a jasper with hematite in it. And if you understand what jasper grounds you and protects you, and hematite will deflect negativity. So you've got these together, and it was found in the earth about the same time that Harry Potter was. So they called it Muggle stones because it protects you against the Muggles. I could not. I was like, I wanted to eat it. It's a beautiful stone. It looks like tiger eye, and it's got jaspers in it more than just tiger iron and tiger. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, did you never buy any from me?
I think we have. It's been a minute.
I thought you
Um,
had. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I love Muggle stone, and it's like, here, have a Muggle stone. Just go protect you from the Muggles, because the Muggles. I mean, that's where the Muggles.
Mhm.
Found about the same time, and that's why they named it Muggle. But if you understand geologically the properties of what it does protect you from the Muggles. It's really very cool. It's Muggle stone. It's got reds and yellows and tiger eye in it and hematite, which is iron.
Now, I think one of the probably the first and I think only stone that I've had a physical change from me carrying it around. It was a piece of petalite that you gave me years ago through some health issue, and I kept it in my pocket. And I was, honestly, more of a sentimental. Like my friend Maria gave me this rock, so I'm carrying it.
Oh, thank you.
More so than like this is petalite and this is why I'm carrying it. So upfront honesty, it's because my friend gave it to me, right? Um, and then just the one day, I don't know what made me pull it out and really look at it because I pull it out at night, sit it on, coffee table or whatever. And then in the morning, back in the pocket, just I've got like my 3 or 4, yep, back and they go. But I actually looked at it and I was horrified that it had started turning smoky and black. And I felt so bad. I'm like, somehow, but it was still shiny, smooth,
It was pulling toxins from you.
and I'm like, how in the world am I ruining a rock?
You're not. The rock was healing you. You weren't ruining the rock was healing you.
So, and that's what you said, because I'm like, I got to be upfront and tell my friend, like,
What am I
this
doing
is,
to your rock?
yeah, like,
Turning
so,
it black.
so what happened was I kept it in my pocket because I mean, I was like trying to wash it, like, are my pockets funky? Like, I know I wear black, but like, it shouldn't have been able to dye it, they're coated and
Yeah,
I'm like, "No, I gotta fess up to this." And then that's what you told me. You're like, "No, it's doing the job that it wants to do for you."
yeah.
And so I kept carrying it, and then just I forget how much longer later, days, weeks, months, like, all of a sudden, like, I went to put it all back in my pocket, and it was like, "No, it was done." So I left it there. I cannot tell you where this rock is.
I feel like it's back in the earth healing.
Because I have every other like rock that I have accumulated in bowls and drawers, and but that little poor piece of petalite just poofed, and I'm like, well, it was done putting up with my shit. Like, thank you, little petalite.
It pulled a lot of stuff from you. And my sense is it found its way back into the earth so that it can heal. And they will do that. Um, I had a hematite. Um, Cats love crystals. Cats love crystals. Oh my God. If you're sitting with the crystal and meditating with the crystal, your cat will come sit on your lap. Cats get this because cats are angels with fur. So they get the energy and they've done a study. Cats, if we're not going to feel it so much here in the Midwest, but on the West Coast, they actually monitor cats to test the seismic waves because cats, their paws are so sensitive. They can feel dogs too. They can feel earthquakes almost 4 days before they happen, and they measure that. So cats are very sensitive, and cats love crystals. So and you have a cat, don't you, Melissa?
Mhm.
I'm wondering if the cat didn't move it outside because cats can do that. But I used to wear hematite rings, and my girlfriend called, and she was ranting. She wasn't ranting and raving at me. She was ranting and raving about her now ex-husband to me on the phone. And I just sat there and, as good friends, you just listen, listen, listen. And I hit the phone and literally and it shattered in 4 pieces in my office. And I went, "Are you done?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm done. Thank you for listening." I said, "Good, because my hematite just took all of that and I need to go bury it." Because it literally shattered in 4 pieces. Because hematite will absorb negativity, and when hematite's done, hematite will break.
Mhm.
So if you break a crystal or you wonder what do you do with these crystals, put them back into the earth. The earth is gonna be
Mhm.
doing it, and if you've got plants in your house, if you've got, like, crystal chips, the plants love it. That remember that they're minerals. The crystal has minerals in it. They're copper, they're calcium, they're magnesium, they're iron, they're phosphate, they're all that stuff. Look up the chemical compound. So put it in your plants and it will feed your plants, bless you. So, if a stone breaks, don't worry about it. Give it back to earth.
So when you talked about hematite and protection, right? We have a lot of customers that will come and be like, I need hematite for protection. And my stance is, why would I want that negativity to get that close to me anyway? I'm going to use black tourmaline. And then hematite's like that last type of resort.
Mhm.
What's your
So for me, that's a great question because it really it will allow us to fine tune what two stones that can be used for protection in two different ways. Hematite will absorb the negativity, but it will also reflect the negativity.
Mhm,
Tourmaline, because of its molecular structure, will deflect the negativity, but it also turns the negativity into positive because of its molecular structure. So you could use the two of them together. I actually have tourmaline, pieces of tourmaline over all my entrances and my doors, along with a piece of astrophyllite for the protection and the communication. And
mhm.
you get small pieces and you put them on the door frames. Um, you can also bury them in the four corners of your property too, and it will grid your property. But that's the difference for me. Black tourmaline is I have a permanent bracelet that stays in my backpack when we travel internationally, or travel whenever I'm with the backpack, because tourmaline will protect you from negativity, but it also transmutes negativity into positive. Where the hematite absorbs the negativity, yes, it does bring it closer to you. It
Mhm,
absorbs you. It absorbs it into the stone rather than into you.
mhm.
But both are great protection stones. Both are great protection stones. And they're both good grounding stones. They both will help ground you. And
Now,
hematite makes beautiful jewelry.
it
Hematite
does.
gorgeous jewelry. Gorgeous, gorgeous jewelry.
It does. Even when it's in a matte finish, it's still really, really
Yeah.
pretty. Now, the other Maria, do you have any questions for our guest, Maria?
um, so since these crystals are from the earth, and I also love rose quartz. I have that's my go-to. That's always been my go-to, and I never understood the scientific. So thank you for that,
You're welcome.
because I never understood the scientific. I think everybody should have a piece of rose quartz. I think everybody needs to learn how to love themselves. But thank you for that. So when we're getting into the crystals, you said whatever crystals speaks to a person or what, it just comes at them. Would you recommend? I feel that rose quartz should be in everybody's
I
household, hearts, pockets, whatever. Is that something that, because even children, I mean, to them it's a pretty pink stone. So I've had in the past, like some clients, and I would say, I go here, get your child rose quartz, just a tumbler. And the
Yeah.
kids love this
Yep.
because kids are still connected to source.
Mhm.
So they just, love this. And there are other stones that they would be pulled to. So what do you think about that? What would be the first go to besides overthinking it and just go for the feelings?
Well, I think it's very important for the feelings, and that's one of the reasons rose quartz is so
Hmm.
beautiful. I will often give rose quartz as a baby gift.
Yeah.
Beautiful rose quartz as a baby gift because here's this beautiful little soul that's coming in for enlightenment. We all come here for enlightenment. We come here to quicken our souls. And what a wonderful, we're all here to learn self love. And what a wonderful way to be able to give that child support and just have a beautiful big chunk of rose quartz sitting in the baby's room. You don't have to know what they do. You just
Mhm.
have to put it in your environment. It doesn't have to, you don't have to talk to, just sit it there and it will communicate with the baby and the baby will communicate with it at a cellular level. And it's beautiful. And that's why I like rose quartz and amethyst because it will keep the child connected to source while it's also connecting it to its self-love. That I think that's beautiful, Maria, to So I absolutely 100% agree with everything you've said.
I just love the stone.
Yeah.
In any shape. Does the stone shape, like some people do not like spears? I love spears because it's just continuous. But some people are more toward tower, pyramids.
Yeah.
Does that change the energy of the stone when it's shaped in a particular?
Sometimes, yes, it will change depending on the natural formation. The wonderful thing about a sphere, and you tapped on it, is a sphere is round and you've got all of the energy always going around. If the stone, depending on who's cupped the stone, sometimes the point might not be really the point.
Mm,
So when you look at natural crystals, you'll be able to know double terminated. This is how the energy in the stone is working. I don't have any. I don't do. I do like towers. Towers are great for gridding in the corners of rooms and towers and points. Um, to be able and it's sort of something you need to look at, but if a stone is tumbled, you don't know the axis of the stone. But when a stone is round and it's the axis is such that there are people that will only do spheres because it doesn't matter the axis because it's round and it's just going to go out in its spiral position. But if a stone is tumbled, you won't know where for the most part, you won't know where the axis is on that. So you won't know, like, if you want to direct tumbleds really aren't a good stone if you want to direct energy in a body for energy healing. That's getting into something really technical for the energy healing part of the crystal. But if the average person just wants a tower in their room or a sphere in their room or a tumbled in their pocket, that's not gonna make a difference. It's when you get into using it in physical healing of the body so that you can know where the axis of the stone is, so that if you want the energy to go up the body or down the body or out of the body, that you can actually direct it but you need to know. And that's why I like to use natural double terminated or single terminated points, because you can know where the axis is and you can direct the energy.
mhm,
That's the
mhm,
only time where I personally think that it's important to know where the axis is. If you're carrying it for healing work or because you just a simple healing work for it to work with you, to me, I don't get hung up on that other than if I'm doing a crystal healing grid on a person.
So, Maria Celeste, what are your top three favorite stones? We know rose quartz. What's your other two?
Oh, well,
Can't live without.
Labradorite. I want a whole kitchen of Labradorite. I want a whole house of Labradorite to me is the magic of going in and going up. And if you just look, one of the things I've never been able to find, I never had a Labradorite sphere because one side was always pretty and the other side is not so pretty. But
Mhm.
chunks of labradorite, tumbled labrador, there's something about labradorite that allows me to feel like the layers of going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in the labradorite and the colors and the chatoyancy. And you got labradorite from Madagascar and you get labradorite from Labrador, and they're different labradorites. But there's just the depth and the buoyancy and the way it plays with the light. It's just, I love labradorite. Labradorite is, it's magical. It's just magical. And it's just, it takes me to another. It's a great way to do scrying, and it's a great stone if you just want to just like get lost. I can get so lost in labradorites. I can get lost anyway, but Labradorite, like, phew, it just is like, I love the water. I mean, Neptune, and it just go, phew. There's something about like mermaids and unicorns and Labradorite. It's crazy. Okay, I mean, I can get really crazy about this stuff. So thank you for letting me be me. But Labradorite just can take you so deep. And while you're going deep, you're going higher, and it makes me realize how expansive we are. Because Labradorite, when you sit with Labrador, it just will take you into the expanse, both the depth and it just tells you how wide life is with you going into it. So that's another one. The other one, I would be remiss. It took me a really long time to like clear quartz. I'm like, it's clear quartz. I love clear quartz. There's something again about clear quartz. And um, I I really think clear quartz is a generator of communication with the divine.
Mhm.
Um, so it's a pretty neat stone. And oddly, now that I think about it, I have a chunk of moon quartz, which is just because it's clear, it's called moon quartz. There's more water in it, so it's when it's at the time that it was formed, the water was clearer and it doesn't have inclusions in it. I have a big piece of that in my bedroom, oddly enough, because I don't keep a lot of crystals. People are like, "Oh my God, you sell such beautiful crystals. You must have gorgeous crystals at home." We really do. I don't really hoard the crystals. That was never my intention. And we were actually selling some of the pieces that I'm like, I think I'll just keep this one for a while. So a lot of those pieces are actually finding places, but that is one that I do have, and it's a clear quartz, and it's just there's something magical about clear quartz. But I would be really remiss if I didn't tell you that Shiva lingam is the stone that started the whole business, and Shiva lingams have to do with birthing. And I people would come to my table and say, somebody wants to be pregnant, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he and she both need a Shiva lingam. 9 months later, they'd come back and say, see the baby? And I used to carry around, I had pictures of babies that were as a result of Shiva lingams. And then the pictures got all ruined. And I was like, you know what? That's not really respectful because now they're all like, meh. And so I stopped carrying around the pictures of the babies because I had them on a cardboard. But Shiva lingam started the whole business. And I, I, um, I actually released the Shiva lingam with 4 beautiful, beautiful quartz that I had. And I didn't know at the time. I was like, okay, this one, it's time for me to release the one that started all of it. And the woman who bought it, we actually did a ceremony as she was buying these beautiful crystals that were very sacred to me. We did a ceremony transferring them to me to her. And at the end of all of that, she said, you need to know these are going into my business to hold the space in the business. I went, oh, they just came from my business. And it was just a magical moment. And so they're continuing to do their work. But the Shiva lingam is a pretty, it, it's really, there's nothing there. They're, they're a rock, really. I mean, but they're beautiful and the markings and just, yeah. So you asked for 3, I gave you 4.
Going extra. That's all right. We like extra. Extra credit.
I can give you 54 of them. Yeah. So that's that.
I feel like we should do a weekly little quick visit on our Facebook, like the stone of the week with Maria Celeste. Here we go.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
We can do that.
We can do it. It'll be fun, I think. We'll goof off while we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm being okay. So they keep prompting me in the last 30 seconds. I'm actually, this has been in the making for the last 5 years, a crystal deck. And I just spoke with an artist today to do the final step of the crystal deck.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
It's a crystal deck that I've actually been working on. I started working on it in 2015. So it's 10 years. So, well, maybe. And literally today at 1:00, I did a conference call with an artist, a graphic artist. And I'm like, it's been sitting. I need to do something with it. And she's like, okay, send it over. And she's like, this is how we'll do it. You just need to tell me how many decks you want printed. I'm like, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Worked. But yeah. So that's a little tease, folks. There's a book called Deck Company.
Although, a side note, are you doing retirement properly? You're just starting something else now.
Well, that's what Eric said to me today. He goes, if you close the business, how are you going to sell the books? I said, well, we're not closing the business. We're just not going to do the shows the way. I don't know.
It'll come to you. It'll definitely come to you.
I don't know. Maybe
Things
I'll
like this.
order them and yes, like this, or just go to Melissa's shop and buy my book, or go to Melissa's shop and buy the
Buy the book, buy the deck, buy
yeah,
all the things, Maria.
just order it through Melissa. We'll keep you employed, and I'll just keep sending them to you.
Hey, we're pretty good at shipping things out, man.
Yeah.
I have minions that pack and ship, and I stand over and be like, you need to rewrap that one. Like that one's going to get drop kicked. You need to get that little extra padding. Now, Maria, the other Maria, down below Maria, we already know your rose quartz. What are your two others can't live without?
The clear crystal and the amethyst. But I also have lately been working with, I do have the moonstones, the black moonstone. I have it sitting right in front of me right now. So I do go around my crystal, even my skulls, and and I kind of greet them every morning. I have to do that. If not, I will hear it from them. So I'm working with this one right now, and it's sitting in front of my desk, in front of my rose quartz.
Well, that together for you will help bring up some of the dark side of things you don't want to look at, so that you can transform that into self-love.
Boy, does it bringing up some stuff, boy, from the past. Yeah. Yeah.
Helping transmute it into self-love, so that you can be wiser for the lesson that you've learned.
So what would you recommend stone-wise for balancing the mind and anxiety?
Lepidolite. The lepidolite. So let me tell you why, Melanie. Why lepidolite? Lepidolite has lithium in it, and lithium is used very importantly in the medical community because of what it does to calm the brain and anxiety. So lepidolite is an excellent, excellent, excellent stone for calming the mind and anxiety. The other thing you can also do is spray lavender on your pillow at night, and make sure that after about 3 o'clock, maybe even 12 for you, that you are eliminating caffeine from your diet. And a lot of people don't realize that chocolate has caffeine in it. So if my sense is, Melanie, you're very, very sensitive to a change in energy, a change in fluctuation. If you sleep with electronics near you at night, Melanie, those need to be out of your room. Make sure your telephone is turned off, your laptop is turned, and you're not keeping it in the room that you sleep in. The TV, you might be sleeping with the TV. You might just want to put something over the blue light or the red light or the red light, whatever turns it on and off. But you're very sensitive to frequencies. And so make sure that you keep all of the electronics away from you. Don't sleep with it by your head, but also cut back on the amount of sugar that you have after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, especially with the chocolate. Spray lavender on your pillow, and you can put lepidolite underneath your bed. A nice place to put stones is not between the pillow and the mattress, but between the mattress and the box spring. And that will work with you, and that keep lepidolite there for you. Lepidolite is excellent because it's the lithium. Or you can get a lithium quartz. There are clear quartz that have lithium in it. You'll see this there's a layer of purple. It's a muted purple, and that's lithium. But lepidolite is purple because of its lithium. So lepidolite is a great stone for calming your brain, and hopefully that helps you, Melanie.
So what crystals or gems are best for cats?
They like all of them. Now that's so not to be a smart ass, but that's like people come to the table and go, "What stone's good for healing?" Like they all are. Like they all are. So if you can be more specific about like the cats will I don't care what crystal. We have this one client. I love her. And she's got like 18 cats. And the different cats will go and the cats will just the cats love her crystals. So she has to be careful where she puts the crystals because the cats will just like they'll move the crystals. Cats and crystals are like this. So what's best for your cat? I don't maybe you can they're gonna like whatever crystal you like. So it's like they're all gonna be good. But if your cat's got like cat leukemia, you probably want to use a covalite or a petalite, that kind of thing. But if you're just saying what generally your cat, whatever crystal you like, your cat's gonna like.
Circling back to the petalite, because that is one of my favorite things to tell people who, like the woo woo isn't real, the woo woo doesn't work. And I'm like, actually, here's a chunk of science and, meets woo woo in why it does work. And, it's 50-50 whether or not they're willing to at least think on that and it, like maybe and contemplate it,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
there's the other half that their mind's already made up. Nothing you're going to say is ever going to
Oh,
get them
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people walk away the table going, and I'm like, they're like, how does this stuff work? Where does this stuff come from? I'm like, it's biblical.
Yeah.
It's biblical. Have you read the Bible? God made 3 kingdoms. The plant kingdom, the earth, the mineral kingdom, and the animal kingdom. Hello. This is the mineral kingdom. This is God's work.
Mhm.
God knew what he was doing, or she knew what she was doing when she created all of those to energetically work together and to help heal us, to raise our vibration so that we can all be enlightened.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, rocks, crystals, gemstones. They're neat little things that you almost don't have to do much to care for them other than, paying attention to maybe their Mohs hardness scale. So, they're not being crumbled in your pocket with your keys or, the ones that you got to keep out of sunlight maybe, or, don't leave out overnight on the full moon in case it rains. And now you don't have that one anymore. Um,
Oh, halite. Do not leave halite anywhere near salt, anywhere near water. Do not, do not, do not, do not, do not. We had a piece of halite and they put us outside. And at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, this $300 stone melted.
oh,
Oh,
no.
Oh my God.
yeah, you don't want to do that.
Well, thank you for joining. I think we're going to have a part 2 and maybe a part 3 will maybe be a little more structured in it on it.
Mhm.
I feel like there's so much to learn in the crystal.
Mhm.
Like we didn't even touch hardly at all about grids with crystals and what you can use them for and
Yeah.
how to decide, what crystals work best for certain clients and, laying them on the body because you mentioned that you've done that before.
Yeah, a lot of that. A lot.
So there were we didn't even get into the tippy top of the iceberg, in
Yeah.
all honesty.
I really feel like I want to just leave your audience because they're sort of probing me is that if you really want to understand the science, look up the chemical compounds of the body and then look up what those chemical compounds do in your body.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
And
can go
then,
down that rabbit hole. But that will teach you. I mean, that's a lot of study that I did so that I knew what stone to put on what body part, depending on what was going on with the person. So there's a lot of medical science in the crystals. So if you want to understand that and how the law of resonant and law of frequency works, you do need to understand the chemical compounds in in the stone. And one of the things that the crystal deck does is tells you why that stone does what it does in the body. I hope I wrote it a long time ago. I hope that's what's in there. But that was my intention. Was so that people in a very simple way, because not everybody comes from a science background, not everybody comes from a medical background, not everybody comes from a geological background. But I try to, my purpose for this deck is to try to integrate that so you understand that the affirmations that I'm giving you with this and having you understand that God has given us tools to help us enlighten ourselves to be one with the universal energy. And crystals help us do that. But you got to
Mhm.
work to understand how they work. And if you don't want to, it's pretty and it just knows that it knows what it's doing, and all you have to know is it knows what it's doing and that your body wants it. And that's really
Mhm.
cool because it's going to work anyway.
Right. No, and that's what we tell a lot of people in the store. Like, do not
Yeah.
overwhelm yourself worrying about the intricate. Just put the book down, put reading all of the little write-ups in front of every stone. Like, what can you not put down? Now read about that one,
Yeah.
you know. Like, I can just hear the hamster wheels in their head just starting to squeak because they're just trying to take in. I'm like, stop it. Just no and don't stop. Like, what can you not look
Get
away?
out of here
Yeah.
and go into the heart. Stop thinking about it. Feel it. Let yourself feel the stone.
Mhm. Yes. But well, that's great parting advice
Mhm.
for our friends here who joined us, and we will definitely have to wrangle you in for a part 2 at least on crystals and
Just make
chemistry.
sure that I'm around.
Yeah, yeah, right. Well, I'm like, so what does this month look like? Anytime, or when's your next available Tuesday?
Yeah. Well, we can talk this week and see.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, and I love seeing your face and hearing
I
your
know. I
voice.
love seeing you. It's been like, oh my God, it was last October when I saw you. No, it was actually April.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw you in
Yeah.
Jan. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, in April too.
Yeah, it
April.
was April. It was April.
April.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say we had breakfast in Tucson, then I saw you in April, and
Yeah.
um,
And hopefully I'll see you in October.
yep, yep. Already plotting and scheming on that one. So
They are too. They're in the warehouse going, where are we going? Where are we going? I don't know.
road trip.
Yeah. They haven't been on many road trips. They've only been on one road trip this year.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah. I mean, slowing down.
Yeah.
It's doing shows is a lot of work, and I don't even move half the weight that you were doing. Um,
Yeah. People would go ahead.
I'm already picky about what shows I'm doing and if they're inside, outside, and whether
Oh,
or
I
not.
don't after doing Trader Point, and my stones are like, you're never putting us outside again. I've never done another outside show. I will tell
Oh
people, a
wow.
lot of people are like, would come up to us and say, we want to get into the business. What advice could you give us? And people always want to go where I buy them, and that, and I would go, let me tell you, because it's usually a husband or wife that want to come do this. I said, you better make sure you have a really strong relationship because you're in a car, you're driving for 2 to 4 hours, 2 to 5 hours. Some people drive 12 hours. Then you're setting up together for anywhere from 8 to 16 man hours. And then you're on your feet talking to people all day long for 10 hours a day. Then you go in at night, you have dinner, you do the books, and you do it all again. And then you tear it down for 4 hours and you drive home for 4 hours. You better make sure you got a good relationship because that's a lot of time and you're going to be very tired. And this happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize the back end of the crystal business
Yeah.
and what goes into it. And maybe we should even just have an episode on that,
Oh,
at
that would
some
be
point.
fascinating. I don't know that I want to relive all that shit. Really? I mean, really, but oh my God, the time. Oh God,
Mhm.
you
Did
know,
you ever?
you're in a van. It's 9 o'clock at night. It's hotter than blazes, and there's no air conditioning because the van's turned off, and you're moving in 4,000 pounds, and you've got jeans on, and God forbid you have to go to the bathroom because those jeans are not coming off fast. No.
Well, thank you guys for joining us for some
Maria.
crystal healing talk. And thank you, Maria Celeste, for joining Maria Serna and I for a crystal healing talk. And we look forward to having you for a part 2, 3, and however many parts we can come up with. Because I feel like crystals, like I know you and I can talk forever on crystals,
Oh
and I'm
my
sure
God.
Maria would if I'd let her.
Mhm.
It's funny because I'm sitting here and they're going, and why aren't we up there with you? And I'm like, oh, sorry, dudes.
That's when we do the crystal a week with Maria, gemstone of the week.
They're like, I want to be shown up. I want to like, I'm like, okay, sorry.
Next
You're all
time, guys. Next time.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, I am just so honored, and I hope that your audience has gotten some fun things to learn, and go love on that crystal, and know that it brings you one step closer to God through love of self and love of God's work.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
For asking me.
Have a great week, guys. We'll see you later.
Good night, everyone. Ciao, ciao. Night,
Bye.
Maria. Night, Melissa.
Night.